Hello and welcome to another What's Current podcast by Napit. And today you're joined by your usual host. I've got Andy Duffen with me.
Hello everyone.
And I'm Steve Humpherys. And today we're just going to do one between us, Andy. We're going to have a chat about looking back a little bit on last season of podcasts and then what's coming up in September as well. But before we start all that, Andy, it would be right to say we've had a bit of a summer break, I think.
Just a little one, yeah. There was some nice weather during it.
We've had a nice summer.
It's not been too bad, has it?
We have actually had a nice June, July and August, a mixed bag, but normally August are rubbish. And I know we're still in August, but we've had some nice weather. We had some sunshine, which is no good for me because I have to get my factor 50 on.
Not much better for me,
and hide from the sun. But yeah, in that, have you managed to get away, spend some time with the family?
More family time, yeah. Tag teaming, looking after my son and my wife because we're ships in the night with our work jobs at the moment. You. But yeah, we've got a holiday coming up soon, so looking forward to that, mate.
Where you're getting away
properly.
Yeah, but what you need.
But yeah, it's been nice to relax,
recharge the batteries.
Exactly, yeah. Take a break from everything and put everything in perspective and recharge the batteries, as you just said. Yeah,
I think that's important for anyone in a technical role, whether you're on the tools doing it or what we do now.
Is
just having that.
Yourself, Steve, have you been done much?
I've just literally got back this week from a week off, and it's a distant memory.
You got the holiday blues then?
Yeah, I'm sulking and back. But yeah, it was nice. Spent some time with the wife. My elder children are now doing their own thing, living in different parts of the country. We've got my eldest 18-year-old that lives in his bedroom. So yeah, it's been a weird one. But me and my wife managed to get away for a couple of nights. And,
nice.
Just local by us because as you know, I'm in North Devon.
Yeah.
So we're exploring places that are around us. We don't have to fly off anywhere.
Great part of the world.
We've had some nice weather. So yeah, we've had some nice. Did some sea swimming. Went for some nice walks and stuff like that. But yeah, then got back Monday to the usual.
The grind.
Hundreds of emails like, oh, okay, my out of office, did it work? So yeah, back into the swing of it, and it's been busy. We've got a busy period coming up.
Yeah.
Podcasts.
Well, I could say it's nice to come back to a podcast. We enjoy those.
Yeah, come back. We do. We just have a chat, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've enjoyed that, and like I say, just looking forward to what we've got coming up. You know, we're going to get back into show season in September with Coventry and Solar and Storage Live.
Yes.
And it'd be nice to get back in the swing of that.
Yeah.
And that's how we enjoy doing that, don't we?
Yeah, it gets us
talking to people.
Yeah, exactly. So before we look too far ahead, it's important to look back a little bit.
Yeah.
So just want to ask you, what was your highlights from season 1 of the podcast that we've just recently done? What was your highlight?
Oh, that's a good question. We did some good stuff, didn't we? We always try and keep current. Mm-hmm. It's called What's Current.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say for me, I really enjoyed our day at Doncaster Cables with Aaron and Neil and the team there because they're just good, down to earth people, aren't they?
Great people, aren't they?
Like, the factory tour that we had and all the stuff how the cable was made. Aaron's so knowledgeable with stuff like that as well. I mean, you were blown away by it, weren't you?
Yeah.
So we had a really good day there. We did obviously we did a podcast. We just had the tour. We just chewed the fat, and it just gets us back into industry, involved in the nuts and bolts of it, doesn't it? And that's what I like. And we've mentioned before, I think sometimes in our roles now, where we're involved in technical writing, technical presenting, you can't get too far removed from the bread and butter and getting back to seeing how stuff's made.
Yeah. I totally agree because sometimes you don't appreciate it, do you? You just go and fit it, don't you? How's that cable made? And then the process goes into it. It's fascinating, isn't it? And
one of the biggest things for me there as well was just, I'm being patriotic here, the Britishness of it. It was just like, Aaron's and Neil are just we're proud that we produced this top of the range products, and the products they're producing, like their PV Ultra, their EV Ultra, the Earthshore, all that kind of thing. They're just thinking out the box, and that's what stands them apart. And Aaron's no fan, and he wouldn't mind me saying, of the foreign imports because they're so cheap and cheerful. And we said there, didn't we? We've used them from time to time.
Yeah, we found out, didn't we?
Stripping that cable.
Yeah, we had no chances with
So whereas that, it's just like, this comes apart. It's got enough chalk in it. And so we had a good play. We had another competition, didn't we?
I was just about to say, there was a great video out there for you, not for me. I still don't know how I lost that.
100th of a second?
Yeah, Formula 1 times.
Formula 1 times?
Yeah. I still don't know how I lost it, but there we are. I did.
Maybe.
The better man won.
No, I wouldn't say that, Andy. I got lucky. I think. What about you? Looking back on that season of podcast, what stood out for you as perhaps one or two that you
The one that I enjoyed the most is, again, me and you having a conversation. It was over mental health, which I think is a really important subject to talk about. And, without being too sexist, men are not very good at talking.
No.
So we need to get that out in the public domain a little bit more. It's good to talk in that sense, and men do suffer with mental health.
Yeah, massively.
It's a real big thing, especially in the construction industry. A lot of pressures if you're running a business, day-to-day, family life, etc. So, I thought it was a really important message to get out there, and the support out there. And NAPIT do a lot with the Samaritans as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's a really important cause, and even though I've not suffered with mental health myself really that badly, I still think it's good to get it out there, and I can appreciate people that have been through things with struggles.
I think on that podcast I highlighted I'd struggled a bit, hadn't I, in certain aspects of, not I wouldn't say a major episode, but there's times when it's difficult to see if it's your mental health declining or just the pressures of work life, and I've had that on the tools, I've had it in other roles. But it's interesting you say that, because I see a lot of that now. Social media is so big. I do see some, people out there, and I'm not going to name names because that's not going to be fair, but they're so into it, like boom, 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 social media, installing all over the place. I just sometimes want to just say, just take some time for yourself, and I'm sure that they are, but busy. You can be a busy fool sometimes.
I agree
you?
there. I think how do they fit it all in? Running a business, doing the socials and that. How do you fit the family life in? If you've got lucky enough to have a family and so on, so it's really important to have a work-life balance. You hear them words quite a bit, but it's really important that you have that balance. Yeah,
it is hard, and even in our roles, we're constantly busy. There's never a dull moment, is there? And sometimes, those little breaks we just talked about for the summer, whether it's a weekend, an afternoon, an hour, sometimes an hour walk just to clear your head is really important.
And a lot more people work from home, and it's news that I'm working from home now, and you've been with me telling me, like, go and have a walk, go and switch off for a little while. You've got to do stuff like that. So there's all different things. The world's changed since COVID, hasn't it? So
and one thing I like that me and you do, we agreed once a month. Apart from shows, we won't, because the show season's on. We see a lot of each other, and then we're sick of each other by then. We're not really. We get on really well, but actually we try and meet in Bristol Training Centre once a month. Have a catch up, do some recording. Just be in each other's company, have a bite to eat, because I think that's important.
You do go stir crazy sometimes in the house if you're stuck in the four walls.
Especially with technical stuff where you're just so focused on, like book writing. Watch your space.
We won't mention that.
So looking forward then, we got a lot of changes coming up into next year.
Yes,
and especially we're thinking of Amendment 4.
Yeah, it's got to be a big change, isn't it? Again, sort of springish, we're thinking the release date, isn't it? There's got to be some changes in that, more on for battery and storage, isn't there? Different things. We'll have to see where it lands, but I think there's going to be some more stuff pointing towards that. It's a big one, because we know when we was on the tools or in education when we were teaching, you've got to keep your eye on the ball with these things, because they can come up and then you go, you get these old school sparks or old school trainers that are working till, well, my day in the 15th edition. It's fair to say
you're like, no, we don't really do that anymore. So keeping up to date with your CPD and making sure that when Amendment 4 is released, that they've got that transition period. Normally of what they do is 6 months, isn't it, to sort of implement the new one. You sort of work into two versions, which is a weird world, I always thought, but it's for the right reasons. But I think when Amendment 4 comes out, we've got to look at the key changes in there and say, we need to adopt them, see where they are, and then we'll be releasing some stuff.
I was just about to say, we'll support our members to obviously through that transition, won't we? We'll go out and do something for them.
Definitely. We always support our members in that. If they choose to tune into it. Now, not everyone wants to listen to old school sparks ramble on a podcast or a webinar, but it is there, members. It is there for you to come and have a watch or a listen to. But I mean, I think obviously with Amendment 4, we don't know what's the final version is going to be yet, but what I would say is that, like you pointed out, more emphasis on maybe some of the renewable stuff, more sort of meat on the bones. So it comes out of the code of practices and other documents and filters into BS 7671, which it needs.
It has to, because that area has grown so quick. Then the regulations have got to stay on top of it, haven't they, to stay on the same path. I agree. So Amendment 4, and then just keep our eye on other changes. I mean, you've just mentioned it there, Andy, the renewables world is moving so fast. I mean,
we do presentations on that stuff, and then it can be out of date in a blink of an eye, can't it? So,
Yes, yeah, it is hard to keep up that area, but it's something the government's pushing, and our members will support the government in that area to hit that net zero target, and all the targets they set for solar panels, batteries, heat pumps, etc., EV chargers. That will be the big area going forward into the next few years, I would have thought.
Massively, yeah. So, Amendment 4, I would say, is probably the biggest change.
Well, it brings us on to the next question, which is quite timely now. So the electrician's role is sort of evolving and changing from when we was probably electricians way back in the day during the war.
When I were a lad.
But do we think the role's changing, so you're becoming more of a specialist, especially like the new generation that we just touched about there? That are they going straight into renewable rather than going into residential, domestic, commercial, industrial? Do you think they're going, I tell you what, there's
I'm just going to do this part.
Yeah, because that's where the growth is, that industrial revolution that we might be talking about.
That's a really good question to pose, because I hadn't thought of that before, because, I was brought up very much like, when I did my apprenticeship and I came out my time, I worked for big electrical mechanical companies.
Yeah.
So they did it was all big pipe work and big cables and ladder rack and, really good panel boards, switchboards. It was mind-blowing, and you were on a project for anything from 6 months to 2 years, with the same crew. It was very much you got there. I think we've talked about this on a podcast before. You set up the temporaries, you looked at all the drawings together, you did the site huts.
It's like a lot of containment in first. Before you can put a cable in.
All the containment, there was normally no windows in the place when you were doing that. Or whatever it was, the frame of the building was just up. Freezing building sites in winter. So I think that all-rounder kind of spark, getting back to your question, is probably, they're still there, and I think they'll still exist, but you might be right. There might be people going like, well, actually, I'll get qualified and get my basis as an MVQ level 3 electrician with my 18th edition, my testing inspection, but actually, I'm going to install EV chargers for the rest of my life, or I'm going to do smart homes, or I'm going to do PV, or I'm going to do battery, or both. And it's a nice problem to have, really, because back in my day, PV was sort of in its infancy, I suppose, really. But I don't want the UK to turn into that American system where that is very much like someone does the. We heard this even in our trade before I come off the tools. Is I used to get blokes when I was maybe doing some project management, and they'd come on site, and you'd get your agency guys come on, and I'd say, right, I need you to wire this, and I need this, or this board needs connecting up. Oh mate, I don't do that. I only do containment.
I only do containment.
I'm like, but your JIB card says you're a fully qualified electrician, and an electrician to me, and I might be wrong in the thinking modern day. I hope I'm not. Is like you do everything.
Yeah, and it could be the flip. I don't do houses. I don't just, I used to work with lots of industrial stuff. I don't do houses.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not touching houses. It's beneath me.
Don't want to be in someone's loft covered in insulation.
There was above me for doing that.
Oh yeah, bit of a higher snobbery.
Yeah, there was
sparky snobbery.
There definitely was. But yeah, I hope it doesn't go that way like you've talked about there. But I do think there's the growth that keeps on being taught. The targets that have been hit, we do need people to actually install that equipment. Yeah,
the renewables is really important. Now, I think it's a great question you've asked, because I'd like to think that, like you say, you'd get your basis, you'd maybe have a few years learning your craft, because remember that grey word of competence has always been a tricky one, hasn't it? Because,
how do you get it?
What is it? Is it, I've got a qualification, does it make me confident? Well, no, that's not true. Is it skill? Just skill alone won't get you there, because you need the underpinning knowledge and the experience on its own. You haven't got the other two, so all those need to come together. And I hope that when you come out your time, and especially this is for apprentices that may be listening or watching, is that have those few years just learning your craft. Because I remember when I came out, I was probably a cocky little 21 year old.
Never guess that.
But I didn't know nothing. I thought I did, but I was learning off. I was really lucky the companies I worked for, that there was good electricians that took time to invest in you and go, no, you're doing that wrong, and this is the right way, and then give you a clip round the ear if you weren't. You can't do that now, and I get the reasons why. But I think that you've got to spend 2 or 3 years, maybe longer, honing your craft, getting your additional quals, and then maybe branching into your specialism. I'm not saying that's for everyone, because you could come out your time and just be a renewables installer. But what if then suddenly Mrs. Miggins wants the house rewired? is that skill set quite there? I don't know. Or I need you to fit some ladder rack. I just do solar, mate.
Yeah.
So the same arguments might come back. You said about industrial and house bashing.
Yeah.
It is changing. It is changing for Sparks, and it's exciting.
Yes.
And that's really cool because you have got those options.
Well, there's another sector now. It used to be like you say, domestic, commercial, industrial, and you could choose where you want to work. Now we've got renewables, so there's like 4 sectors that you can sort of home your craft into if you want to.
Yeah.
But like you said, to be the all-rounder now, especially you're going to have to encompass renewable.
Yeah.
Not just have industrial, commercial and domestic. You're going to have some renewable skill sets, do you?
And I think the apprenticeship standard these days, although you won't come out of your time on your MVQ diploma with those qualifications, you would have had some knowledge of them.
You would have been taught about them.
I think in my day we didn't. We touched on things like electronics, fire alarms, emergency lighting.
We talk about like biomass. We talk about the renewable technology, biomass, hydro, solar.
I remember that.
We do talk.
It was like a section, wasn't it? But it weren't massive detail.
No.
Yeah, and which is quite right.
It's not installing it, but it's just how it actually works. The functionality of it all.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like I say, are we getting into a world now where we are dividing our trade up a little bit into pieces? But I hope not, because I think the technical, you've got to earn your stripes in our trade, haven't you, in a way? And I don't want to say like respect, because that's probably the wrong terminology to use, but you look at people that have come through their time and sort of gone and again, forgive me for this, it sounds like the right route, and there are other routes into the industry.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the short courses that they've done and dusted and should have been. I'm talking about maybe career changes and having a route for them. might not be the same, but I think people that have gone through the hard yards and earned those stripes, you sort of look at them and you go, yeah, that they understand, and they're the good installers and our members that we see out there doing it day in, day out, that are proud of their work. The ones that aren't going to do that are never going to do it, are they?
No. Like you said, probably the older generation, maybe someone that's maybe coming towards the end of the career, may not want to go into the renewables because they've got the skill set of what they've already known, and then to go into a brave new world, it might be, look, I'll leave that for the next generation.
I'm not changing.
Yeah, which is fair enough, I think.
Well, me and you do a bit of a straw poll, don't we, on our talks at trade shows? And I always say, if I'm doing a renewables talk, say, how many are in it? A few hands go up. How many are thinking of getting into it? Few. And then the older boys, you are right, are going, nah, I'm wrapping up. I'll stick to what I know. My rates are fine. I'm earning a good few quid.
I sort of understand it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about that then, Andy, with another question you could ask off the back of that is with change and the different roles and the busyness we've talked about of installers out there, how do you think that can be helped by things like AI, automation? I mean, it's such a useful tool, isn't it?
It's an evolving tool. It's massive. Now, we're lucky that we do a practical trade. So the robots or the AI or the artificial intelligence hopefully won't be able to wire houses or put containment in.
Just give in.
Well, then it's a sad day for us all. But
if Terminator ends up doing a rewire, we're done.
Yeah. So on that side, we're lucky. But I think AI as a tool, especially in a business sense, can definitely help your business grow.
Yeah.
If you use it correctly.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't rely on it.
Yeah.
So that's when you get lazy, I suppose. You can't rely on AI.
No.
You can use it as a great search and it can assist you and stuff like that. But we've got to be careful with it, I think. But yes, it's a tool that I think businesses will encompass in their day-to-day duties, and electricians. Yeah.
I think they're wise to. I was very much a pen and paper thinking with things like test sheets. We've got Fast Test, which we're looking at, our development team are always looking at ways of developing that with AI, and maybe improving that really is going to be massive in the future. But I'm just thinking something like basics. Do you remember the days when you had to do I'd be at home at night, like with the wife, would be, dealing with the kids and again, that sounds a bit wrong, but I'd be trying to run a business because I had my own business for 13 years and I'd be going, I've got to get this invoice out. I've got to do this quote. You could just go, now, produce me this.
And long as you're feeding the information that you're there, well, it might be able to do a tender, it might be able to help you answer emails, materials lists as well, you might be able to feed in.
I like that.
Specification, it works out materials list and pricing. It's a massive tool. I think you'd be silly not to use it. It's just, like I said, to just be careful with it. Don't be reliant on it. You still need to check the figures.
Check the figures, yeah.
You know?
Use it to help you.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is some good. Well, I mean, we've been on trade shows and seen some good software options out there as well, haven't we? Can't remember the name of them now. The one that give you all the sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
Everyone walks around with yellow sunglasses.
Yes. Powered up.
I think. Yeah. Or stickers on people's backs. Fergus, another good company we've worked for and done a podcast with as well. I mean, all those they're helping businesses just run more efficiently, aren't they?
Yeah.
I was terrible at paperwork.
Yeah, I can imagine lots of businesses are, especially if you're the bigger business maybe because they've got more staff, but if you're just like a sole trader, you've got a busy life, haven't you?
Of course you have. Juggling family life like we've talked about. I used to be awful. I used to get those horrible letters off the Inland Revenue going, okay. I couldn't blame the accountant. It's my fault. So luckily didn't get the fines, but just on the curb of like getting in trouble with them, and it's a difficult one. But material list, if you're doing a big tender, that could really help you out. But like you say, sense check it before you send it to the client.
I remember one of the guys I used to work with, I think it was Amtech, that used to do your cable cokes, didn't they?
That's right.
So I suppose I could probably do cable cokes, but I think if you feed the wrong information in there, I think one of the guys, it was for some lamppost wiring, it came out at 16mm squared steel rod armaments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
They don't like going in lamppost connections.
No, so it's what you feed in is what you get out.
Yes, I think with any application, you are right. Yeah, the information's got to be good in there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But it is good. It's exciting for electricians now. If you think about it, just to look at the stuff we've just talked about there. The branches of renewables you can move into, smart homes, CCTV, still like security now. Yeah. I remember, again, just going back probably to a previous question, but I remember working with a guy. We were doing a lot of work at Crown Courts, and we were doing some of the data installs and some extra sockets for the courtrooms and other areas, and they were doing the security system, and he was an ex-Spark, and he just saw many years ago, he saw that branch, and he just went, and he turned up and he fitted like this, a bit like our pod track there, he fitted this big long panel, he got all his cameras. You imagine these days now, they probably don't even need wiring, would they?
I mean, there's probably a wireless technology out there. You said the smart homes is a massive area, I think. I think we're more tech savvy now. Yeah, everyone looks at tech, don't know, an app on the phone. Yeah, I think that's a lot of people will be having that in the homes, Hive, Google, Nest, and stuff like that. Again, and the beauty about all these, a lot of the companies, the manufacturers, you can go and work with them, and they do you some training. Yeah, and you can be expert installers with
product training. Yeah,
so it's all out there for them.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, should we go back on the tour? No. We like what we do now. What we do now. Yeah, I wouldn't know which end of a screwdriver to hold now.
Not after the Doncaster cables. No. I'm not going back into that then.
Well, is there anything else, Andy, that you think?
Well, I think this leads on to our last.
One more question.
Yeah, last question. Yeah, and this is probably a good question. About customers, right? Which can be tricky.
Customers.
Yeah, a dirty word, so to speak. Do they realise the benefit of using certified electricians like our members? And if they're not aware of why you should, how can we educate them or communicate in better ways so business owners and homeowners do use certified electricians that are registered with a competent person scheme like NAPIT?
You've had some belting questions today.
I know, it's good, isn't it?
Your brain's working really well today. Well, we did write them down before, and we are cheating a little bit, but no, that is a good question because, well, to answer your first point, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. I think customers, I don't want to say the majority, but I think a high percentage don't know the value of certified. I'm going to be brutally honest.
I agree.
Well, when I'm talking about the domestic market there especially, I mean, if you, especially industrial, jobs are tendered, it's a different world. But if I'm thinking about the domestic market, it comes down to that price at the end of the day, and the customers are, and we're probably guilty as customers as well when we have work done. Like, you always think about the 3-quote scenario, like the cheapest, the middle and the top. I can't afford that one, mate. That one seems too good to be true, so I'll go middle for diddle. But I think what the education piece needs to be to maybe the consumer or the customer is like, do your research on the contractor. Like, who's doing that work in your property? So if they're doing a full rewire, they're in your property for what? 3-4 days.
Yeah.
It depends on how quick they are and what they've got to do and how big the property is. There's lots of variables. But do some research on that contractor or a few of them and have a look at their portfolio. Ask to see some of their work because, you know, they're going to be coming in and bashing walls and be there a long time and in your ceiling and under your floorboards and the stuff you don't see.
Yeah.
You know, I know sometimes customers are only concerned with the end bit. Oh, look at my light switches on and my sockets look nice and the shower's brilliant and my EV charger's fine, and they only see the end products because that's how our job, isn't it? The finishing bit looks, but it could be terrible underneath.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we've got to discourage obviously the do-it-yourself people with electrics.
Yes.
And I know my own family members that are still guilty of that.
Oh, my dad would always he'll take a socket off and replace them. You can't do that stuff.
Stop doing that. Yeah, you're going to hurt yourself, you know, especially when they get older. It's a bit worrying. But I think, you know, to discourage that, but then, I think the education piece, to come to your second point, needs to be probably pressed a little bit more from organisations like ourselves. Yeah. And just, you know, we reach out to members, but there's someone behind the member, which is the customer.
Yeah.
So we can do more education pieces around, look, are they certified? Are they a NAPIT member? Go on our website and search for them and have that insurance. Funny enough, I was having this conversation yesterday over a pint with someone that, you know, he was asking what I do. And I told him, you know, it's hard to explain my job role, but I said, look, we do front-facing stuff. We do technical, presenting, webinar. You know, it's like consultancy really, I suppose, but working for a company. And I said, it's a great job. And he says, oh, you know, and he's a bathroom fitter, so he just does bathrooms. Yeah. And I says, who do you get to do your work? And he says, oh, there's a lad I know, and he comes and he charges me a reasonable amount, and he gets it done, but he's reliable, which is quite good down in the northwest. The southwest, by the way. So he's reliable, so he uses him. I says, oh, does he give you any certification? And he went, what do you mean? So even another trade weren't aware that if any of that work was notifiable, let's say he's had a new shower, all right, like for like, maybe not.
Yeah, added some lights in the bathroom.
But still a minor work certificate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, like, it's not just education for it's other trades, it's the customer. So I think that needs to be out there, that because of that building regs legal stand we've talked about, from a legal point of view, that, you know, if that's notifiable work, it's only when something goes wrong that suddenly all that then back, who did you use? Yeah. And that's where the danger is. Yeah. So I think that the customer doesn't get away scot-free in that respect.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. The customer needs to do their research. Yeah. You know, in the sense that they, like you've said, they should go on to competent person schemes, check for in their area. Yeah. You know, like you said, most electricians would probably have a Facebook page or maybe some kind of website advertising the work. You know, you still can't beat word of mouth as well. Exactly. A recommendation. Yeah. Hopefully they've done a good job and, like you said, certified the work as well. I think customers need to be aware of that certification. Yes. That's key. Because it probably goes on quite a bit where work doesn't get certified.
No, or notified, and I think that's an important point.
It's quite scary, and that's where we probably need to educate the customers about, if you're having this work done, this is the process that should be in place. You should receive X, Y, Z.
I feel a podcast coming up.
Could be.
Just to customers.
It could be.
We'll go knock on doors.
This podcast is not just for NAPIT members, it's for everyone.
It's for everyone.
Yeah.
Is that about it on questions, mate?
I think that brings us to.
I've enjoyed that chat.
Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it?
Just covered loads of things.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone else has enjoyed it. So that brings a wrap to the show today. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review. It does help the podcast grow. And until next time, stay safe, stay grounded, and keep that current flowing.